Hey there everyone, it's Haz here and welcome back to another Salmon Run field survey, and this time the rotation is our very first Superfresh Rotation on the Salmon Report, featuring the Sploosh-o-matic, Bloblobber, Squeezer, and the Tri-Stringer, which in itself is an incredibly powerful and amazing rotation, but on top of it, since it's right before Big Run, it is also 8 hours longer and is a 48 hours rotation because of it. As before, this field survey will feature one wave with each of the weapons to show some of their strengths and how I like to play them, in hopes that my commentary helps everyone who struggles with the set or the weapons. And this time, I've also attached an Xtra Wave beating Kohozuna, as that was requested last time too. Now let's hop straight into it. We'll start immediately with the Tri-Stringer, one of the brand new weapons of Splatoon 3, and I still think this weapon is massively undervalued by a large portion of the SR community, as I think it has the versatility of a shooter, while also borrowing the range and power of a charger. Now I mostly painted the tower where I'll want to stand, but remember to paint the walls at the beginning of the stage here, to give your team better mobility later. There's going to be one specific thing I really want to talk about, but the Tri-Stringer is actually a fantastic weapon to deal with fish sticks, as your triple arrows fly in just the perfect angle to splat 3 of the fishes, making quick work of them. Helping your team as any weapon is very important, especially when they are chased by lessers, and I see it too many times that people just ignore them or run by. But lesser salmonids are in fact most of the time more dangerous than bosses, so splat them more. With that said, we have arrived to the main point I wanted to show about the Tri-Stringer that get very much undervalued, and it is its torpedo shots. If you at least partially charge your bow, so at least one full circle, then your shots will spawn torpedoes on the ground where they land. By learning and utilizing this, you can be a very powerful lesser clearing weapon that can have similar results as a blaster if used correctly, and now we have an even more versatile weapon than I said before. Don't underestimate this ability. I really believe so few people use this that it is the reason the Tri-Stringer isn't valued as much, when it's a powerhouse in reality. Now usually I don't recommend going to the shore for just 1 or 2 eggs, but this seemed relatively safe to me, and by chance a big shot also just spawned, so I felt it necessary to deal with it. The stinger shooting at me and the chum spawning did not make it any easier, but this is actually a perfect showing of why most players should not stay on the shore. Most of the time it will be too dangerous, and you're also drawing all the salmonids to yourself instead of towards the basket. Fortunately though, I took care of the big shot and got some eggs, but in the grand scheme of things, I would still say this was a waste of time, and I could have done something more useful, so take care not to linger around the shore for too long. We're getting pretty close to the end here, so I only weakened the flyfish, since I wouldn't be able to collect those eggs anyway. This is a minor optimization to consider at the end, how you could get eggs to the basket faster, instead of doing things that just won't matter or you don't have the time for. Overall though, pretty smooth wave, and we dealt with all dangers without a problem. Next, the Sploosh-o-matic, one of the, if not the best weapon in Salmon Run overall. It has one of the best damage per second in the mode, along with its incredibly good mobility, ink efficiency, and fire rate. While its range is a little bit low, you can still deal even with a steelhead, which I consider the only range anyone really needs. This time around, I do remember to paint the walls, so you see it's super quick and very useful to do at the start instead of during a wave. Now, I wouldn't consider this shore rushing at all, but we might as well talk about it here. I see so many people misunderstand the teachings of luring into staying near the basket and spamming this way, even when your teammates are already at the shore. At that point, it is already pointless to attempt luring, and you should be with your team on the shore to make sure everything goes smooth. Staying near the basket accomplishes nothing, but make the team weaker and be useless. So remember, luring is great, but helping your team is way better. Despite splitting a scrapper near the shore, you can see if everyone picks up an egg, you collect them in no time. As a bonus here, I decide to only stun this scrapper following me, as I could see that my team is transitioning into luring, but this way I can get those 2 shore eggs before I leave, and the scrapper can still get closer to us later. As a weapon with excellent mobility and firepower, I would recommend any Sploosh user to mimic what I do and prioritize first getting the furthest eggs from the shore for your team. The others can easily collect anything else, but you are the best at collecting eggs far away, and this is the most impact you can do. While doing all of this, remember to not ignore lesser salmonids. Clearing them constantly is one of the most important things in Salmon Run, and the Sploosh frankly just goes through them in no time. You'll even see me many times just go after hordes instead of bosses, since I know my team and most players will just focus on bosses, but not on lessers. Once again, smooth work, and I have to say, I love this rotation. Now the Squeezer. This is a very special shooter as it is basically two weapons in one. By just tapping your ZR, the Squeezer gains very long range and 50 damage per shot, which is the best way to deal with salmonids fast, but you shouldn't ignore the hold fire mode either. Holding down ZR will rapidly fire like most shooters, but at the cost of shorter range and less damage. As a pro on the other hand, you gain incredibly good ink efficiency, and in fact, you deal 1500 more damage with one single ink tank this way than if you would tap fire. So choosing the right mode for the right situation is very important to being good with the weapon. Now, Mothership Wave might not be the best wave to demonstrate the strength of the weapon. I thought it's a good wave to showcase, especially considering they nerfed the Mothership strat used for collecting lots of eggs. I somewhat wanted to try how efficiently you can still do it, but sadly my team used a special here, which is understandable honestly, so I didn't have a good chance, but I think it's still doable casually to at least splat a few Chinooks coming out of the top, but nowhere near as good as it was before. I think one of the mistakes a lot of players do with Mothership Wave is that they try to split boxes and collect eggs at the same time. But I think with Mothership Wave it is very important to realize what weapon you are using and what weapons are available to your team, so basically knowing your weapon's role. So for example, if you lack range, you should focus more on egg gathering, and with long range weapon, just swim around and split down as many Chinooks as possible instead of wasting time collecting eggs. This way, even a bad rotation can handle the Mothership Wave that otherwise would fail to meet the quota. It happened to all of us before. This rotation has been very fun to me, and this way I didn't even have to use my specials at all, so I shamefully used my Killer Veil at the end on this Mothership. But still, good game. We still had no lost shifts at all. I really like playing with this team that I found in the HazCo Pool. Finally, the Bloblobber, my overall #1 favorite Salmon Run weapon that features very long effective range, high damage, good fire rate, and on top of that, the multiple projectiles make it a lesser salmonid cleaning monster. The trick to using the Bloblobber against lessers is very similar to using a charger, that you try lining them up against you and then fire your bubbles. This way the multiple projectiles will deal with 2 or even 3 chums in a line within no time. This very same method also works wonders, by the way, against Glowfly Rush Wave, where each bubble will split a chum and can clear the rush alone, so don't sleep on it. As I said, it also has really good range, so it easily one-cycles a steelhead when needed, but you do need some practice to get a feel for its arc shots. Whenever you can, try to practice not wasting a single bubble that you shoot, so making sure there are multiple enemies in front where your shooting will maximize the ink efficiency so that there's nothing wasted. It's also very efficient against stingers, by the way. You actually don't have to arc your shots at all here like I did. Just aim at the base of the stinger and your bubbles will take care of its spots rapidly instead of whatever I was doing here. Like I mentioned in Salmon Report, it's also crucial to learn the arc that you can shoot your bubbles, as you can use this to your advantage against slime inlets, but even fish sticks to split them fast, though fish sticks definitely need a lot of practice to get it right. What I love about the Bloblobber the most honestly is that whether the salmonids are close or far away, it really doesn't matter. And the weapon just feels amazing no matter the range, which allows it to be very versatile and react to whatever situation that's happening on the stage and carry the team when needed. Here towards the end, it's a perfect example why you want to paint the walls at the beginning, so you don't have to bother painting them during the wave. It might seem easy here, but if there were more bosses and lessers around me, a painted wall can be the difference between getting away or getting splatted. You can see the blob has all the damage needed to also one-cycle a Drizzler, but we already met the quota, so we didn't need that. Another fantastic wave. Well done, everyone. And here's our Xtra Wave that was asked for last time during field survey. Hopefully this will help some people on how to split more Kohazunas and soon Horrorboros. The main idea behind an Xtra Wave is to splat bosses but keep constantly shooting at Kohazuna at the same time. If you have a high damage boss splatter, it's better, but normally everyone should be constantly shooting at the king whenever they can. Your best specials to use against the king are Prep Tank and Inkjet. When you use these two, just make sure you shoot at the king all your shots as they are very high damage, and this is probably the best way you can use them during this wave. Frankly, I have no idea how I got out of this situation. It was a miracle, but it's time to reposition, and since I have a good range, I go to the tower for now. From the high ground, I can actually see where all the golden eggs are, so I can prepare where to go next. But in the meantime, I keep shooting at the king without a pause, constantly pressuring it. It's a good idea to reposition or go for golden egg throws while you're refilling your ink tank to be as efficient as you can be, which is also a great method if you aren't that great at multitasking. Now you can see these weapons are absolutely shredding Kohazuna, as both the Sploosh-o-matic and the Bloblobber are king splatters, and the team also did a great job at making sure we have enough eggs laying around constantly to use. This rotation is truly a super fresh one in my opinion. It's good for climbing your ranks, farming Xtra Wave, and it lasts longer too. I just love it. Thank you for joining for another field survey. Hope you liked this episode, and if you did, make sure to let me know and leave some feedback what you liked the most about it. Our community pool is also ready now, and all you need to do is join the HazCo Pool to play with other people who follow my channel and guides and have a better time in Salmon Run. Big Run is almost here, and if you feel unprepared for it, make sure to check out my Big Run series that will fully prepare you for the event and let you have a great time. Thank you for joining, everyone. Stay fresh, and I'll see you the next time.